Hey everybody, Kier here. This week I want to talk about something that's really important. I think that affects everybody in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's personally that we've gone through this, whether it's with a family member that's experienced this, or whether it's a friend or a colleague or an acquaintance that's also gone through this and struggled with it perhaps. And that is addiction. Specifically, what do we mean by addiction? What do we mean by being addicted to something? What does that actually mean and entail? And what I found in my experience too with alcohol, particularly as I developed an alcohol problem when I was younger in college, that I had to consciously change my lifestyle, my relationship with alcohol, and choose intentionally to live a life without alcohol, free and clear. What I realized is that addiction for me, not for everybody, but for me, had a couple different parts to it. Meaning, it usually had some kind of release, some kind of escapism element. There was some kind of getting away from whether it be the stresses, the anxieties, the demands, or the challenges, right, of that moment or of everyday life. Also, more chemically and physiologically, what it means to be addicted to something is that we're addicted often to the feeling, to the dopamine hit, if you will, the release, to the buildup and anxiety of doing that thing, whether it's that bad habit, behavior, substance, or whatever it is. It's the relationship with it, right, that's problematic, that becomes what we call the addiction. But it's usually an addiction to the feeling or the non-feeling, right? Meaning what we're escaping from, the creation of a way of coping or numbing or handling something, whether it be a pain, a trauma, an experience, something we don't want to visit, really unpacking, get to the root of. So what do? We partake in behaviors that are destructive often, whether it be using drugs or alcohol to a level that's not healthy, right, and supportive. Whether it's playing video games incessantly or overeating, or any number of different behaviors that aren't really supportive and healthy for us when done in adequate and moderate doses. So what does it mean to be addicted? I feel, for me at least, personally speaking, it's got that element of escapism. I'm trying to get away from something. It's got an element of just this kind of root level dopamine hit, the anxiety and the kind of almost the buildup, the draw, the attraction to that behavior. For me, it was drinking, going out with friends, having fun, socializing. It was that lead up that I got excited, the lifestyle, the socializing that for me was kind of that excitement factor that turned into something that was not healthy, that became destructive as I did that more and more, as it took me away from my goals and my focus and my values, what I knew was important in life, in career, how I was raised. And so, for me, that's kind of what addiction really means. That's what it looks like for me. I know this is different for everybody. So I'm curious, how have you maybe been impacted by addiction? Whether it's you personally, whether it's a family member, a friend. I'm interested to hear, because I really believe that everybody out there is only a couple of degrees of separation away from addiction, meaning we've all probably known somebody who's battled with some kind of addiction in some shape or form. It's a pervasive problem. It affects over 40 million Americans alone. It affects hundreds of millions of people worldwide. And it's something that has all kinds of lasting, dramatic, and negative effects if gone unchecked, if we don't deal with it. The root reasons why we partake in a behavior that is problematic, right? And then find new behaviors, new cognitive ways of thinking, new ways of coping and dealing with the world around us, the pressures, right? The anxieties, all the different challenges. If we don't find a new way, a new habit, a new practice, discipline, and lifestyle to substitute for the bad ones, that's when we run into problems. That's when we run into trouble. That's when our life starts to spin out of control and we start to see the negative effects and externalities of bad habits, behaviors, addictions really take hold in our life. And they can manifest in many different ways, from negative health effects to a strain on our relationships, right? To, hurting our performance at work, to getting us away from our values and principles, to hurting our relationship with ourselves, our own feeling of self-worth, self-esteem, from our hobbies and our activities and things we enjoy doing that we always enjoy doing, we get away from those as well. So I hope this resonated in some way. I'm excited to hear from you. Drop us a line. Let us know if this affected you in any way, if you've experienced this personally, if you want to share that. If not, that's fine too. I know it's a personal subject matter area. Or if you know somebody that's suffering from this currently, an addiction of some sort, a bad habit or behavior that's destructive, unhealthy, non-supportive. Again, thank you for being here as always each and every week. To your success, your happiness, and your freedom. We'll talk to you next time.